Last year set all kinds of climate records, none of them good. 2020 tied with 2016 for the hottest year ever recorded, and that was part of an ongoing, unrelenting, lethal trend for the planet. It was also the worst fire season ever for the West Coast and the most active Atlantic hurricane season. We almost hit new record lows for sea ice in the Arctic, while temperatures were the warmest ever up there. And just a couple of weeks ago, Harvard, in collaboration with 3 universities in the UK, released a study that found 1 in 5 people died prematurely in 2018 because of air pollution from fossil fuels. That's 8.7 million people in 1 year. In episode 1, we plunged right into the waters of the Great Barrier Reef with XRTV contributor Sam Rosen. He was shocked by what he saw.
For every 10 corals you see, maybe one of those will be healthy, and it'll be sitting on a mountain of bleached corals, which was really depressing to see.
We also covered a demonstration led by First Nations peoples near Victoria, BC, in support of the Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia. For harvesting lobster in their traditional waters, the Mi'kmaq have been attacked by non-Indigenous fishers. After the rally, Councilmember Underwood sat with us to talk about the larger issues underlying the challenges facing the Mi'kmaq and most of Canada's First Nations.
The efforts have always been to try to colonize free and independent First Peoples, First Nations, Indigenous peoples, by starving them out, by taking them off the land that provides for their freedom, for their rights.
In episode 2, we continued to look at food insecurity among the Indigenous and non-Indigenous. Among the organizations we featured was the Red Cedar Cafe.
I think it's about 5.5 million Canadians right now are food insecure. This is the problem of capitalism and colonialism. This is not, the charity model is not going to fix anything. Food is a human right, and we're a food justice organization.
We at XRTV believe very strongly that food is a right, not a privilege. For food insecure people, food should not be a gift. It should be a given. For the Indigenous, food insecurity is an even more serious issue, and it has roots that go back centuries. That's according to Jeff Corntassel of the Cherokee Nation.
We're limiting hunting and fishing, right? And so the way it's taking place today, I would say, is kind of the criminalization or limiting of fishing that we're seeing in Mi'kmaq.
In episode 3, we took a behind-the-scenes look at the forest defenders at Fairy Creek. Cheated hereditary elder Bill Jones has supported the blockade. At the August rally, he recalled a line from O Canada.
We stand on guard for thee. And I think us people who are caring for our Great Mother are likely the only ones that truly understand what standing on guard for thee. But that also involves action.
This is important. We need to be here now.
I'll be here for this foreseeable future, as long as it takes, pretty much. So,
as long as it takes for what?
to stop the logging, the road building, just all of it.
British Columbia's NDP government announced in September that it would defer logging on 353,000 hectares of old-growth forest, which was called for by a 2-person strategic old-growth review panel. Independent scientist Karen Price says the NDP's response to the panel's review of old growth in the province was disturbing because it includes what's essentially a lie.
Out of our 353,000 hectares of, in quotes, old forest deferral, there's only 3,800 hectares of productive old forest of the type identified as needing immediate action by the panel that's not already in a no-harvest zone. So we're talking about 1%.
As we noted earlier, our request for an interview with Minister Conroy was turned down. We also requested an interview with Premier John Horgan and never received an answer. But we at XRTV believe the public record speaks loudly and clearly. Perhaps that's why they don't want to speak at all. Our February episode focused on eco-anxiety and depression caused by the climate crisis and featured experts and renowned Canadian activist Howard Breen.
Change requires not just mass participation at times, it's going to require mass civil disobedience.
Howard's been an environmental and human rights activist for almost half a century, but he's paying a high price for his many decades of activism.
Well, in 2017, I was diagnosed with climate and biosphere related depression and anxiety, and I was treated for that.
Breen talked about his application under Canada's medical assistance and death law. Although he has no plans to end his life soon, he wants people suffering from severe eco-anxiety and depression to have the option of a merciful death. More recently, we've covered demonstrations in support of the Fairy Creek blockaders.
The NDP government needs to take number 6 of their own report, which says immediate moratorium to halt all growth logging until a sustainable plan can be put in place and First Nations are properly consulted.
We will not back down! We will not back down! Hey!
And we won't back down in our coverage.
Hello, sir. Can we help you?
No, you're just doing what you're doing.
We're just having a little private conversation. Thank you.
It's a private conversation, but you're in a public space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just keep shooting.